Hey there, so today we have another review, and this is Treehouse Eureka. So this is their American Blonde Ale, 4.2% tiny beer. This is literally the same ABV as Bud Light, but boy, has it been an enjoyable beer for me. In my journey in craft beer, my enjoyment of Treehouse, this has been one of my favorites. Such a tiny, tiny, tiny little beer, and just so delicious. Soft, juicy, gentle bitterness. Boom, boom, boom. Tropical flavors, yeah. Once again, so this beer is obviously not as hazy as some of the other Treehouse beers. It has like a medium to medium plus haze to it. Definitely see a little bit of shadow and light. It actually has like almost like peachy look to it, which is quite interesting. Pale straw is a like old color, but has almost like a little bit of like interesting color to it. I suspect there's a lot of oats in here, possibly giving that color. Oats at high percentages tend, for me at least, to give a different appearance on a beer. How fresh is this? Not quite fresh, 3 weeks fresh. I smell a little bit of that stanky dankness, some light kind of like oat cracker wheat note to it. A little bit citrusy, a little bit tropical, a little bit of pineapple. Smells quite nice, a little bit floral too. Have a little cold. That's what I love about it. So I guess I didn't know it before. Anyway, I guess I didn't know it before, but I guess this is a high percentage wheat beer. Wheat. Possibly wheat, but possibly oat and or wheat. So that's something for me sort of really distinguished. But I suspect it's a high adjunct beer. For some reason, there's like this like hop burning thing that's actually quite intense on this beer. It's a tiny beer, probably has a lot of hops in it, but yeah, it's a weird hop burn thing that I used to not get. This beer used to be clean, crushable, so delicious, so it's a little bit funny, and sort of that like first note that I was getting is like, oh yeah, this is the beer I like, but then like, it's very dry, yeah. It's a little bit off. But up front, it's so pale in the sense that, and creamy. So it might be oats. I'm gonna put us all together. Oats, a lot of oats in this one. It's just like this like, New England IPA thing where it's just like not quite malt flavor / barley flavor. It's got this really, again, oatmeal flavor to it. Oat cracker. It's on the like really light end, not even towards dough and bread. It's like really light, right? Or just specifically those grains of sulfur for flavor. Is that familiar? It's like if you guys drink oat milk, there you go. There's that like very specific oat flavor that's different from again grains, barley. So love that flavor to it. It's super crisp. It's a little bit tropical, but for some reason there's a weird sensation on the back end. It's a little bit like drying. It's hot burny, which actually really takes away from the experience. But I will say this is just in general at a good point. This is one of my favorite beers. It's just absolutely delicious. I remember just going to like my early days of like, learning about beer was our quarterly bottle share that we had in Lower East Side, a bottle shop called Top Hops. And we had like 40 people. I think that was the limits. It's a small shop, but people brought all kinds of beer and you got to try it. There's definitely way too much beer for the amount of people that were there. But there's always those beers that just sat around and you go back to. And there's those hype beers, you're like, you got a taste of it, you're like, whatever. And obviously the bottle's gone. But then like there's a growler sitting there of Eureka and you just keep going back to it. It's like, oh wow, that beer was amazing. Or another beer was like Fremont, Kentucky Dark Star, KDS. Just beers like that, just like I've tried a lot of beers today, but like this one is so good. I'm gonna keep going back to it. Nobody's touching it. And I guess you hone in your palate to what you like, right? So Eureka was one of those beers. Like I was like, there's somebody brought like literally like a full 64-ounce growler and nobody's touching it. And I'm like, well, I'm gonna keep drinking this because it's 4.2% and it's absolutely delicious and so deliciously quaffable and awesome. And yeah, this is not the best example of Eureka I've had, but it's still quite delicious. It's like, it's the essence of New England IPA, just like in the most naked and like tiny little form. It's got a little bit pineapple. Again, that back thing right there is not quite perfect for me, but it's like oaty. It's got a really nice flavor. It's just, to jam pack this amount of flavor in 4.2% is unbelievable. I would have guessed this was a New England Pale Ale at 5.5%, maybe. Yeah, probably not standard IPA, but maybe 5 to 5.5. This tiny of a beer, if you could trade me all the Bud Lights for this beer, I would, do that every day for the rest of my life, right? So this example of this can right here, some minty or something, I don't know. It's a little like dry on the back end. 93, even despite it's not like all the way there. 93. Let's go back actually. Yeah. No, better. Bubblegummy tone there. 95 Eureka. Even not the most perfect can of all time. This beer is absolutely fantastic. One of the most underrated beers in the New England IPA family / produced by New England IPA breweries. Absolutely love it. Until next time, guys. Cheers.